Welcome to the Break the Stigma podcast, where each episode we focus on raising awareness and debunking the negative stigma behind mental health.
Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Angel and this is the Break the Stigma podcast. Today I have a special guest with me, my dad, Marquise.
Hello everyone.
Introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Angel's father, as she said, Marquise. I am the owner of Coast to Coast Treasures as well as Solidity Clothing. As you can see, Angel is my VP. I rely on her a lot. But I just became an entrepreneur about 2 years ago.
Yeah, Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast.
Congrats.
2 years ago.
2 years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about life-fulfilling prophecy. So basically a life-fulfilling prophecy is if you feel like what you're doing is fulfilling your life's purpose, like what God put you on this earth to do you feel like being an entrepreneur is fulfilling that prophecy? And are you doing what you believe your purpose is on this planet?
So I guess to touch on a little bit what you're saying, everybody has a God-given gift.
Yeah.
And am I using my gift to the best of my ability is what
Correct.
You're saying.
Yes.
So 100%. So I feel like I'm a very creative person. I feel like I'm a people person.
Are you?
Maybe. Okay. I was gonna say maybe you might not feel that way all the time, but I mean when I'm in my own zone.
When you're in your element.
Yeah, there you go. My element of what I love to do, then I am a people person.
I get that. Yeah.
So
when you're talking to people about what you want to talk to them about.
Yeah. What makes me happy and something that I really know about, I'm really passionate about.
Yeah,
then I can fire it off and it resonates really well.
So what exactly are you passionate about? Like what is it that you sell and that you do with your entrepreneurship?
Okay, so I mean, to give a little backstory, in I'd say like 95, I was working with your grandfather. We were in the sports cars and he was out at the Englishtown auction that, and I would go help him out on the weekends. I kind of got into, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But now, here we are in the present day and I'm doing the exact same thing. So I guess in a way I didn't know that I loved what we were doing at that time, but now I'm super in love. I sell sports cars, toys, collectibles, antiques, those kinds of things.
Nice.
Anything collectible.
And so do you think that back then you would have known that you would be taking after Grandpa's footsteps and doing this on your own? Or back then did you think like, oh, this is stupid?
I mean, a little bit. I kind of thought it was stupid because there's times I would get in trouble and be on punishment, and my punishment would be to organize his cars. So I didn't know I'd be organizing those cars and actually having fun with it now. So, I mean, back then, I definitely didn't see myself going down this road, like fully following his footsteps because he was a manager of stores. I obviously did that for 15 years and now I'm running the same business that he's been running all of my childhood. So
going off of that, what made you realize that you didn't want to be managers of stores anymore? Because obviously that made pretty good money, right?
Okay, I mean, working for anybody, I mean, sometimes you get to a ceiling where you feel like, well, am I going to go any further? Am I being overlooked? Which I felt. I mean, I had 15 years of retail experience, management experience. I've excelled in any avenue of that management position, even to running the store. So your next step would be a district manager or something of that sorts. And it's like, I felt like I constantly got looked over. So when it came time to say, I guess it's over.
Yeah.
I was confident enough to say it was over.
Okay, and do you think that that's the reason that you worked retail for 15 years? Do you think that that's the reason you wanted to start your clothing business, or was there?
Well, I've always, like I told your mom back in like high school days, like I've always wanted my own clothing. Like I was supposed to go to the Fashion Institute of Technology. I don't even know if that still exists, but okay. I was supposed to do that after high school, but my life took a different turn. But I always wish that I had done that because, so I guess Solidity and working with you motivated me to really push through that door and do it. So, yeah.
Do you think that any one of your businesses holds more importance over the other? Because, I mean, you didn't talk about it, but you have C&M Group, you have Coast to Coast Treasures, you have Solidity, you have...
So
the
being
podcast.
so being an entrepreneur, your brain is always running. You're always all over the place. So yes, I have multiple businesses, but you have to focus on one thing before the next thing can take off. So
Yeah.
although I have all these different ventures, Coast to Coast Treasures is always going to be number one right now. Coast to Coast Treasures Odd Things LLC is going to be number one right now because that's the money. That's the breadwinner right now.
Yeah.
So, but when you start one business, you want that business to fund the next business. So, Coast to Coast Treasures helps Solidity, and in turn is also going to help put money into C&M Group, which is a real estate company. So once we have enough capital, then we're able to purchase our first home.
Got you. Do you feel like you sort of, I mean, this is kind of going off the other question, but do you feel like you compartmentalize each one of your businesses in like, not its importance, but like in its value to your own life? Like going back to the life fulfilling prophecy, like do you feel like you have more of a purpose in selling toys versus buying homes? Or is it like...
See, okay, so for me, I'm in love with what I do with Coast to Coast Treasures. Like that's always been a part of me, whether I knew it or not. Collecting has always been a part of me. So it actually does hold a little bit more importance. Maybe it shouldn't overall because these are all of my businesses. At the end of the day, those are all my businesses. But like I said, I know which business is bringing the money and which business depends on me to have all the focus. Because if Coast to Coast and Odd Things don't run well, then those other businesses don't run well at all either because I can't fund those businesses. So I have to put all the focus right now into Coast to Coast Treasures. Doesn't mean that I don't love the other businesses equally. It doesn't mean that they don't mean anything to me, but you have to focus on one to make the other shine.
Do you want to talk about how you thought, I mean, we talked about how you Coast to Coast came about, but do you want to talk about how Solidity and C&M Group, you have 20 businesses, how Solidity and C&M Group came about, like what sparked those?
Okay, well, the backstory on Solidity, obviously you know, Angel's uncle Nate, me and him, he was incarcerated, and me and him would talk for the last year of his presence on earth about this clothing line. Well, we didn't know it would be a clothing line at the time. It was just like a jail slang kind of thing, and I was like, yeah, well, we should turn that into something. And then I got with one of your second cousins, I guess it would be. Yeah, he's my first, your second cousin. And he took that name and gave me a bunch of acronyms. So with the acronyms, we came up with Snakes and Lions in the Yard. And, you know, the meaning behind it, if you go into depth, it really resonated well. So we ran with that. And here we are a year later with that. We've donated some good monies to
Black mental health.
Right. And C&M Group, me and my associate on my podcast, Solidity This,
I'll shout it out.
Christopher Joe, he came to me one morning. I mean, he has his degree in business management, and he was already into the real estate thing. He had done it years back, but he wanted to reopen that part of his life, and he asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. No brainer. I mean, real estate is something that's taken off in the last few years.
Yeah.
So, no brainer. I mean, he's really the face of that. I'm more of just a managing partner.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm learning as I go.
Do you think that working with, because you're not the only managing partner of C&M Group, you obviously have Ralph and is Billy part of it too?
No, Ralph is, and then Pop is.
And Pop.
Yeah.
So do you think having a bunch of managing partners makes it harder to run a business, or do you think it's more fulfilling having a bunch of people to bounce ideas off of?
I would definitely say anything to do with business is better to have people to bounce off, because something that you may have thought was the greatest idea in the world, now I have 3 other people to say, maybe it's not the greatest, maybe we should try it this way, and then you can sit there with those 4 different ideas and put them together and come out with the best one, rather than saying, you know what, I think I'm gonna just put a red mark on that wall. And then it's just a red mark on the wall with no meaning behind it. So yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate my partners, because they actually help me with a lot of things, and not just C&M Group. They help me with Coast to Coast Treasures and Solidity. I mean, you're a big stamp in Solidity, so you know, you need other opinions.
So even though, I mean, you said that you're a people person, I don't really believe it. But you obviously, you like you like being alone. I like being alone. I was the type of person where in school I hated group projects because I wanted all the ideas to come from myself and my own work. Do you ever feel like that, I guess, when it comes to your bigger projects like Solidity This? Do you ever feel like you started it on your own versus having 3 other people?
Solidity This was actually started by Chris.
Okay.
He was going to do his own podcast. I mean, you remember me and you talked about doing a podcast together, but I guess someone got in his ear and said that, hey, you and Marquise would be great together doing a podcast. And then, you know, we sat there the first day doing it, and then we brought Billy and Ralph into it. I mean, it's worked well.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes do I like to... I guess I do consider myself the boss of the crew because if I don't like something, you know, I'm gonna speak up and I'm gonna say something. So, I mean, but they also know how to tone me down too and bring me back to reality that it's not just about me. So.
Yeah. Is that also the reason why you like hold Coast to Coast as such a high importance, because it is something that you're doing by yourself, so you're more like proud of it, I guess?
I mean, it's not okay. So Coast to Coast Treasures is kind of just solo me, but it's under the umbrella of Odd Things LLC, which is your grandfather and my stepmom. So, I mean, I kind of have to, the business it's dependent upon everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I have to make myself happy and I have to make them happy too. I think it's more so me trying to make your grandfather proud, because if I do something, you see my attitude, his attitude is double mine. So if I do something wrong, he gonna let me know. So it's like, I gotta think about, do I love this? Is he gonna love this? And I have such a strong retail background that everything is like OCD with me when it comes to this, because it's still retail.
Yeah. Out of all your businesses, what is your favorite?
I mean, I guess you would think that Coast to Coast would be my favorite because it's what I know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a comfort, but Solidity is actually my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like when you come to me with a new design, it's like, oh, that's dope. And then it's like you make me think of 30 other designs. I mean, sometimes they don't come out because I just feel like it's so much. But I mean, it's still fashion is what I really, really, really deep down always wanted to do. Like I always wanted to be like a fashion consultant, the stylist. Those were the 2 things that I really wanted to do always.
Do you think Solidity would ever turn into something like, if you guys don't know, my dad was the manager of Old Navy. Do you think Solidity would ever turn into something like big corporate wise? Like, is that your hope, or do you kind of hope that it stays like kind of smaller family run business?
I would never want to be a big box store.
Okay.
I would never want that, because then it's like, I mean, for Solidity, for something like that kind of brand, even like your brand, Sweet and Sour, like it's like you want the people that understand the full meaning behind that to wear your stuff, not just because we got a 50% off sale and you saw a blue shirt. I don't want that. Like I want you to wear it because you like, wow, that's really some deep thought, meaning behind it, and I know what it means, and you're not calling it salty. I mean. Yeah, so I never would want to go that route, and since I've done that for 15 years, like I see I like my grind. I like that.
So what is your goal for the future, I guess, with Solidity and with Coast to Coast and C&M Group, if you want to get into that?
Coast to Coast, right now I have a small store in Englishtown Auction, which is only open 2 days a week. I'm also in Columbus 1 day a week to try and make it
check it out.
Try and make it a full week of being open, and I do my shows. But the ultimate goal for Coast to Coast is to be in a brick and mortar. So I'm open Monday through Sunday, or have the 1 day off, whatever, and I can really reach the people a little bit more. I mean, Solidity. For me, I'm fine with where Solidity is right now. I mean, do I see it growing further and bigger into other things? Heck yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want that to be, more than just a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we have Solidity, this the podcast. We got Solidity Entertainment, where we just put Lions Den, that's BC.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're going to continue to grow Solidity into different avenues and just make that a huge umbrella. C&M Group, I see us in the next 2 years tops, we should have a bunch of properties and really see that going. Yeah, you're clapping because you getting what you want your house.
I want my house.
You want your house.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's the ultimate goal is to be able to have my legacy to be able to leave to you and your brother.
Oh, nice. Period.
Yeah.
So to end this segment off, if you were to ask yourself, like your high school self, if you thought that you would have 3+ businesses when you were 40 years old, do you think that you would have laughed, or do you think that you would have believed in yourself that you would get?
I mean, I would have 100% laughed because, I mean, you obviously know where your dad's been, the roads I done been down. I mean, y'all people in the world don't know. But, I mean, to be a part of the lifestyle that I was a part of, I thank God that I even made it to 41. I mean, I really even thought I would be dead or in jail by 30, 35, you know what I mean? So, thank God that I'm here.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that in the next segment. So, with that being said, stay tuned, guys, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everyone. So, over the break, we talked about some things that we want to talk about for the last half of the episode, and going off of what my dad said, ending the last segment, for anyone that doesn't know, you can rephrase this how you want to, and I can edit out anything.
Oh, okay. All right.
But my dad was on the streets in high school. He was dealing with a lot of things with gangs, as most people do in the area that he grew up in. And so I wanted to ask you, do you think that having all of these businesses and things to distract you, do you think it helped you get off the streets in a way?
All right, so we're going to definitely stop that part, right?
Yeah.
So when you say on the streets.
You were on the streets.
I wasn't living on the streets, people. let's get that right. I was not living on the street. I wasn't homeless.
No, I didn't mean like that.
But when you say on the streets, that's what people think. Like I wasn't a prostitute. I wasn't any of those things.
You were on the street.
So I was heavily into gang activity. We're not talking about any of this stuff as we're proud of any of this stuff, but I was into gang activity. Yes, I sold drugs. Yes, I did all those things that young guys do, not to be cool, but to be in that limelight of life. And the crowds that I chose to hang around, those were the things that I were into. Definitely being around positivity and real life motivation will change your life. I did go through a period where I had to go to counseling. That also helped. But the businesses ultimately do help because you're able to put all of those energies somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, whether we want to look at it that way or not, all that stuff was creative energy that I was doing, but it was negative creative energy. So now I took all that creative energy and put it into these businesses so they can be successful. So I guess that's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
My dad's not homeless, guys. He's never homeless.
Never homeless.
So going off of that, do you think, obviously, with your own struggles of mental health, have you gone through like any depressive periods that you feel like the businesses have helped lift you out of?
I think any kind of pressure in life affects your mental health, right?
Yeah.
Definitely starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur, for you people that think that is just sitting on your hands and knees and, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this today, and oh, we're done, and I can watch TV and play video games or whatever the rest of the day, is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of nights where you're up all night. You might be up 24 hours. I mean, there's tons of things that can go wrong becoming an entrepreneur, and it definitely bears on you hard. It's definitely stress. It's definitely like depression states. I mean, because you're talking about going from a paycheck
Yeah.
guaranteed to now I have to make that money guaranteed because I still have a mortgage, a car payment, college tuition, wants and needs. So you still have to be able to push through and make it happen without knowing how you're gonna make it happen. So I mean, your mental health is like almost destroyed in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
So going off of that, do you ever? I mean, I probably already know the answer to this, but do you ever like wish that like you could go back and work for big corporations again, just so you have that guaranteed paycheck and you don't have the stress of like,
I'm gonna say hell no to America. I'm not telling nobody to stop their job and quit your job or none of that stuff. But for me, what it really was is I went on the honeymoon with your mom, and I had brought this book with me, Steve Harvey book, Think Like Money, Act Like Success, or something of that sort. But that book really it gave me the drive, the push to like really go for what I know I needed and wanted at the time. I was sick and tired of waking up every morning and going to a job that I wasn't happy about and coming home being like, oh my God, I gotta go to work tomorrow. And kind of like your mom does now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Every Sunday, oh my God, tomorrow's Monday. Like, I got tired of doing that. So although I wake up every morning, I'm like, damn, how am I gonna make it happen today?
Yeah.
I would 10 times rather do that, what I'm doing now, than to go work for somebody else.
And plus, like, when you're working for someone else, you're on like autopilot, whereas with the business you have like new ideas that you
every day.
Every day is a new thing.
It's a new adventure.
Just, you're going and folding clothes and dealing with annoying customers.
Exactly. And I can choose to deal with the customers I want to deal with.
Exactly.
And this, at the end of the day, is me.
Yeah.
And I like knowing that what I did today, the money I made today, whatever successes I've had for the day are me.
So is that like rewarding in a sense?
It's extremely rewarding. I mean, why go and do all these successful things for a business that's not going to give you any credibility for doing?
Yeah.
I used to go in and reset stores and tear a store apart and put it back together and you did a good job.
Yeah.
Thanks. No bonus, no raise, no nothing. You did a good job. Now, next month we need to do the same thing again, just a little bit faster. You know what I'm saying? So I got tired of those kind of things. I want to feel like I made a difference in my life, my kids' life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that the stuff that I'm doing, I see how proud you are. I see that, you know what I mean, it's influencing you to be a better person. And I mean, you got 900 jobs too. So, you know what I mean? I see that as going that way, and I like that.
Yeah. Do you ever get overwhelmed with all of the things you have on your plate, or is it like a bunch of things that you think of it as like they're all keeping you busy, so it's all worthwhile in the end?
I'm extremely overwhelmed every day. I mean, I don't show it. I wear my poker face very well. I don't think nobody would ever know I'm upset or hurting or anything because I wear it very well, and I don't like to push that energy on other people all the time. And I'm trying to work on that, but I'm not a person that asks for help. So when I'm overwhelmed, I just figure it out. I just keep on pushing, but I'm extremely overwhelmed a lot, more than I would ever let anybody know. But that's also part of being an entrepreneur. You don't want to show your hand and, you know, make people think, because that's what, when you're an entrepreneur, people are waiting on your downfall. They're waiting for you to fail so that they can say, see, I told you should have kept doing that.
Yeah.
So for me, when I get overwhelmed, I think about all of those negative things, all those people saying you couldn't do it, or, oh, you crazy, bro, or this or that, you know what I'm saying? And it just makes me, you know what, damn that. So that overwhelming feeling may be maybe an hour tops any given day that it is, and that's really me trying to get new ideas and new thoughts, because it's like, I'm not going to let somebody say I failed. I'm not going to let somebody say, well, see, I told you couldn't do it, or whatever. You know what I mean? The negative energy feeds me, so that overwhelming just feeds me.
Yeah, and that's really just with Coast to Coast, because with all your other businesses, you have help. Like with Solidity, you have me. With Solidity this, you have the 3 other people for the podcast, group, you have all of them. So do you ever wish that you had someone else to help you with Coast to Coast, or do you enjoy it being just you?
Well, even with the other businesses, I still get overwhelmed. I mean, you see, like with Solidity, if I feel like you didn't do the due diligence for the said new design, I'm going to be overwhelmed and I'm going to be stressed out. Like, why didn't she do this for my design and she does it for hers? You know what I'm saying? With Solidity, this podcast, if the show didn't go the way I thought it would go or I envisioned it going, it's like I'm pissed at the end of the day because it's like it still it has my name on it. So anything that has my name on it, like I do get overwhelmed about because I want it to shine. I don't want it to be like, man, that's another Marquise Bradley thing, and it's just it sucks again. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna do that. So,
and I guess what I'm trying to ask is it more overwhelming since you're by yourself at Coast to Coast?
I guess maybe a little bit.
Like
more
you have to
overwhelming.
spend those like long nights counting out your cards and like organizing your Funkos and thinking about which ones are going to the store and which ones are going to the toy show. And...
You right. Yeah, it's definitely more overwhelming being by yourself. So even though I have your grandfather who I can call and, hey, am I making the right decision on this purchase or something? He's not here to say, hey, we should do this way. We should put this way. We should set up for the show this way. I don't have that. So yeah, it is more overwhelming when you don't have somebody there with you all the time to help or to bounce ideas off of. So yeah.
So what do you think is the most challenging aspect and the most rewarding aspect of being an entrepreneur?
The most challenging would be you can't be a procrastinator. Okay, so that's the challenge for any person because on any given day you can be a procrastinator without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Not having a team to assist and help when you do need that assistance, that really sucks. Not knowing everything is a challenge because you're constantly learning as an entrepreneur. Every single day you're learning something new. But for me, it's still rewarding. Like I said before, I would rather go through all of the challenges versus, damn, I gotta go punch in for Joe Schmo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I gotta work 8 hours and only make $57. You know what I'm saying? I would rather say, well, you know what? I only made $57, but I don't gotta pay tax. Well, you do gotta pay taxes. Please don't get that confused. But what I'm saying is, I can pay myself versus depending on someone else. So
right. So the most rewarding part is everything, and there's just the challenges in between, sort of.
Yeah, the overall for entrepreneurship, you will feel the ultimate reward working for yourself and knowing you did it all on your own. You didn't have, because even with having people to help you, like with Coast to Coast, like it's solely on me. Like it's not Old Navy where I had associates, other managers, and all of that. So when I have these successes, I can't say, well, damn, I had help from 10 other people.
Yeah.
I had help from me.
Exactly.
Maybe you, maybe your grandfather. So at the end of the day, it's still me because the ideas mainly came out from here.
Yeah.
So I feel the ultimate success and reward from knowing that I did it on my own.
And is it rewarding knowing that, like, because obviously, like, people that came into Old Navy when you were working there, you didn't really have much to, I guess, I mean, I don't really know even how much to talk about, but like with Coast to Coast, people come to your toy show and you guys have the same interests. So is it more rewarding being able to talk about cards together, the sports games that go on that you guys are both interested in versus like, oh yeah, we have 50% off games today?
So, okay, you know me, I'm very fashion oriented. So at Old Navy, I did feel a certain kind of reward because I know fashion. I knew what I was talking about. So when people ask you, hey, how you think these would fit or whatever, it felt good when somebody do ask you your opinion and then you can really be like, I think maybe you should try this or that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near the same as, like you're saying, the shows or someone coming to my store and they ask me about a particular item and I can run down 900 things about that one item. And like you said, I could talk about the sports with them. So yeah, it's definitely more of a customer connection is what you're saying. It's more of a customer connection, and I feel more rewarding being able to give somebody some information that they didn't know, some history, some information they didn't know versus, you know what, the white tees is over there.
Yeah, we got 50% off our jeans.
They over there, man. I don't know too much about them. I don't know what kind of cotton they use, but at least if you come to my show or my store, we can sit there and talk for it. I have people that come to my store every week and we sit there and we just talk sports for an hour or
so you have like your regulars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And does that feel good, having people that, like, you know, like, they want to come back to you for more versus just like Old Navy when it was like, oh, I need a new pair of jeans?
Well, it's even greater than that, having those regular customers come back. It's having those regular customers come back and tell you that they love coming to shop with you because you're not trying to overprice your stuff. You're actually giving them some info, and you're personable with them, and you actually show that you care. And those things are the ultimate reward, because ultimately that is the ultimate success and reward.
Right.
Versus just the money. Obviously, everybody wants to make money, and life is run on money. But when you can touch somebody's life, that's the ultimate reward.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so excited to be a therapist, because
Okay.
you can touch people's hearts. That has nothing to do with that.
I was like, wait a minute. I was confused for a minute. That's nothing to do with it. But yeah, that's still going to be a reward for you when someone can come back and say, you know what, Angel, you really helped me through whatever problem.
Yeah. So to end off the episode, this episode's title is going to be called Being the Boss of Your Own Life. So how do you think that you went from having other people boss you around to becoming the boss of your own life and managing that on a day-to-day basis, managing all of the struggles you have? I mean, not really struggles, obstacles, I guess would be a better word, and managing your own mental health and being the overall boss of your own life.
Well, one, knowing that you don't have to go to work for someone else definitely lifts weight off your shoulders and your mental, because now you know it's not about somebody else, it's about you. It's a different kind of stress, but it's a better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Going from the corporate world to being my own boss, you said, how did I do that?
Yeah.
How did I transition that?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of not second guessing yourself and betting on you. You are your number one star player, so it's always better to bet on yourself than someone else. Know your worth. Know what you're worth. Don't stop until you get that, even if it means leaving the corporate world and working for yourself. I'm not saying don't go to school and become a social worker. I'm not saying do that, because that might be the ultimate boss move for you.
Yeah.
But if you know your worth and your worth is not working for somebody, then continue to keep that and plant it in your brain and keep on going for that. Like I said, I knew all of that stuff, but it took for me to read that book, for me to really take that leap of faith and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bet on me, because if I lose, I can only blame me, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's the ultimate boss move. Rely on you, respect you, you know what I'm saying, support you, and just keep on grinding and know that you can do it.
And shout out to Steve Harvey for
definitely shout out to Steve Harvey for giving me my epiphany in life.
Yeah. So with that being said, guys, make sure you go follow Solidity Clothing on Instagram. I mean, not Solidity Clothing, _Solidity on Instagram. Solidity This on Instagram, that's the podcast. Go look at soliditythis.com. That is the website for the podcast. SolidityClothing.com is the clothing website. Check out Solidity This, their podcast. It's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Overcast, anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Pretty much.
Go listen to their podcast support as well as mine. And thank you, Dad, for being a guest on my episode.
Thank you for having me, babe.
Of course. All right.
We out of here.
We out. Let's talk about it.